My wife, the woman I loved dearly, suddenly has 3 children. She brought the kids to find me, demanding the $20 million relocation compensation I had just received. After a thorough investigation, I discovered they are the triplets of my wife and her childhood sweetheart, Justin. He named them Prince, Paris, and Blanket, because that childhood friend's name is Justin. My mother-in-law, Chris, used my allowance money to buy them a large penthouse in their hometown of Aspen. Taylor used the excuse of performing and studying to travel frequently between the 2 cities. Like a bolt of lightning from a clear sky, I angrily questioned her why. She eloquently replied that it was because of a childhood vow. I slammed my fist onto the marble coffee table, arguing with her for hours. Friends and relatives all tried to persuade me. You two have been together since your college days at Harvard until marriage, so many people admire you. They are just a few children. Besides, you can't have kids. Isn't having adopted children better? Over all these years, Taylor has never looked down on you for not being a man. Now that you both have money, isn't it great to have children by your side? I suppressed my heartache and looked at Taylor. She is in her 30s but still looks like a girl in her early 20s. Still youthful and beautiful. Give them some money and tell them to leave. That was my greatest concession. Taylor stood up, looking at me with a firm gaze. They are my children, they naturally must inherit my assets. If you don't agree, we will see each other in court. I coldly wiped the blood from my hand, no longer delusional about saving the marriage. Taylor, let's get a divorce. Chris let out a gasp and bolted upright. She grabbed a glass within reach and threw it at my head. This useless man dares to demand a divorce? If anyone is demanding a divorce, it should be our Taylor. What right do you have? Relatives held Chris back, taking turns to advise us. Taylor's expression was also grim. She glared at me. Ed, you want a divorce? What are you trying to do? Looking at the relatives talking all at once, then looking at Chris jumping up and down, pointing at my nose and cursing. I felt a blockage in my heart. This is the wife I loved like a treasure. The elder I regarded as my own mother. As it turns out, my wife's affair is somehow my fault. Taylor noticed my expression wasn't right, and her voice softened a bit. Ed, I know I've wronged you in this, but I have my own struggles. Justin and I were betrothed since we were young. Breaking the engagement to marry you was already a wrong against him. He has been lonely all these years. Me giving him children is my way of making it up to him. We have been husband and wife for 12 years. I thought you would sympathize, that you would understand me. Why are you making me lose face in front of everyone like this? She spoke gently about her unavoidable circumstances, blaming me for being unreasonable and not considering the big picture. Those words hammered at my heart, creating ripples of pain. I closed my eyes. 10 years ago, Taylor's dance was like a golden flash that fell into my heart. But Chris had already accepted the dowry from Justin's family and demanded I pay back double. She also said Justin promised to buy her a house and move into Taylor's family home as a live-in son-in-law. I went home to discuss it with my parents. My father kicked me to the ground. You rebellious son, you dare to ask to sell the whole family estate for a rural family? Today, if you step out of this door, I will burn the woodworking shop immediately. I'll act as if I never sired this beast. Later, after much persuasion, my father provided the gift money and agreed to pay the deposit for a small house for Chris. I took on part-time jobs and worked overtime, secretly giving extra money to buy the house outright for Chris. I brought her to the city. After marriage, Taylor said she wanted to develop her career and didn't want children. I took the initiative to have a vasectomy and asked the doctor to issue a diagnosis of infertility. Not long after the wedding, both sets of parents started urging us to have children. I endured the rumors and presented the infertility diagnosis. From then on, the way Chris looked at me changed. She hinted that I wasn't a man, that her daughter was as beautiful as a flower. And marrying a useless man like me was 8 lifetimes of bad luck. Taylor saw that Chris was being harsh and that my parents were forcing me to go everywhere for medical exams. So she discussed making amends with me. Maybe I should tell the truth? That I'm the one who wants to dance and doesn't want kids. I hugged her, comforting her. Taylor, your mother won't agree if she knows. And your parents, can you handle the pressure? I'm a man. If they scold me a bit or say a few words, I can take it. Are you sure you can take it? Are you ready to give up your dancing career? Taylor remained silent. That day, I told her seriously. Just keep dancing for a few more years. If one day you think it through and want to be a mother, tell me, I'll go for surgery. We will have a baby. Whatever you want to do, I will always support you. In the second year of our marriage, Taylor won an opportunity for self-funded advanced studies. I immediately withdrew capital from the woodworking shop so she could go away. From that day on, Chris also changed. She no longer scolded me as a fake man. She frequently went back to Aspen to stay, saying she was used to the rural atmosphere. She said the small house I bought made her feel cramped. I thought she had accepted me and wanted to give us our private space. As it turns out, she ran back to Aspen to take care of her 3 precious grandsons. At this moment, I finally understood that Taylor didn't actually go for advanced studies. She took my money to give birth to children. I suppressed my heartache. Taylor, is giving birth a way to make amends? Did you ever think of me? Did you care about my feelings at all? Taylor looked at my sorrowful face, and a flicker of shame passed over her features. I'm sorry, Ed, I just didn't want you to suffer again. Even more, I didn't want children to disturb our lives. Justin said that by having children and fulfilling the duty of continuing the family line, his life is complete. He will focus on raising the kids, won't remarry, and won't bother us. If you agree, he also agrees that the children will be filial to you and call you stepdad. I let out a cold laugh. So Justin is that thoughtful and generous? Afraid I'd have no one to care for me. So he fathered 3 sons to be filial to me? Am I supposed to bow down and thank him? Otherwise, would I really become a lonely old man? Taylor smiled faintly. Forget about the thanks. Although Justin is a few years younger than you, he is very mature and broad-minded. He knows his status is unclear, but he has never complained once. He only focuses on caring for the children so that I don't have to worry. Now that the children are older and our conditions have improved, I think it's time to give him a formal status. From the relocation money, let's give him $300 as compensation for 10 years of hard work. Buy him a 4-bedroom house here in Beverly Hills. The kids are used to living with him, so let them stay together. I'll go visit occasionally, just to fulfill my responsibility as a mother. She spoke so casually, but her words felt like a sledgehammer hitting my chest. I opened my mouth, only to realize my voice was hoarse and dry. Taylor, do you want another family besides this one? Don't you think you're being cruel to me? How am I supposed to face my friends and relatives? A look of awkwardness flashed across Taylor's face. Ed, I know I've made you suffer, but for all these years, haven't you said that you don't care about what others say? You said as long as we are happy, that's all that matters. What do you mean now? Are you forcing me to heartlessly abandon them? Taylor then looked at me sternly. Ed, I am a mother. You don't have children, so you cannot understand the feelings of a mother. I cannot just ignore them. It is my responsibility as a mother. After saying that, she stood up and gave me a silent look. Ed, I know you can't accept this right away. That's fine. Think it over carefully. I still hope you can accept the children. After all, my blood flows in their veins. I cannot abandon them. With that, she called all the relatives and friends outside, leaving me sitting alone, stunned, on the sofa. I poured a bottle of whiskey and leaned back on the sofa, drinking alone. The private investigator sent videos and photos to my phone. I sneered and opened them, since the secret was out. Chris and the others were no longer hiding. The whole family openly went in and out of hotels and amusement parks. Thus, the detective captured everything. Taylor and Justin, a family of 5, having a Western-style dinner. The 2 of them playing games with the kids, taking the kids to extracurricular classes. They were clearly just ordinary photos, but my eyes stung. If my father were still alive, he would surely slap me and call me a fool, but he can no longer stand before me to scold me. He passed away from late-stage liver cancer a year ago. Before he died, he held my hand and told me to live well, not to feel pressured, and to adopt a child if I couldn't have one. Even though I had cried more in the past few days than in the last 30 years. Seeing the scene of Taylor's family reunion, my tears still fell. I don't understand. I treated her so well. Why could she treat me like this? And Chris, no matter how difficult things were at the woodworking shop, I never cut her $5 monthly allowance because she said she was anemic, her heart wasn't good, and she needed physical therapy and daily supplements. As soon as it was morning, I called the relocation office. I agreed to invest the relocation money into the trust fund. I'll be over later to sign. When Taylor returned, I was dead drunk, my face covered in tears. She gently helped me lie down and used a hot towel to wipe my face. The scent of vintage perfume on her made me nauseous. She had stayed with them all night, in the house I bought for Chris. Taylor fed me warm water, cradled my head, kissed my hair, and repeated her apologies over and over. At that moment, I felt myself transported back to 10 years ago, when my father adamantly opposed us. We lived in a basement. It was truly miserable then. My father cut off all my resources because he didn't want me to marry into her family. We ate plain buns and instant noodles. At that time, Taylor loved me. She didn't complain once, running everywhere with me to get orders. Even the toilet we bought was the cheapest kind. At night, she would hold me as I slept, crying and saying she had burdened me, telling me to go home and not worry about her anymore. I hugged Taylor back tightly. Taylor, tell them to go, please. We can give them an allowance, just don't see them anymore, okay? Taylor's body stiffened, and her movements stopped. I was sober now. I struggled to sit up and slowly got out of bed. I sneered at her. Why didn't you come to me when you wanted children? Taylor, how could you be so cruel? I punched the glass cabinet hard. Shards of glass flew everywhere. Bright red blood slowly seeped from my hand. For several days, I stayed at the woodworking shop, handling the post-relocation business. Today, right after I finished discussing the merger with Mr. Usher, Taylor called. I silently answered. Ed, come home tonight, I have something to tell you. Thinking that things had to be settled anyway, I said, okay. Pushing the door open, I froze, thinking I had entered the wrong house. The wall lights and crystal chandeliers were all on. Cartoons were playing in the living room. 3 boys were eating snacks and playing. The dining table was set with many dishes. The aroma of wine filled the air. There was also a large 3-tier cake. A vibrant bouquet of red roses sat on the dining table. Taylor excitedly walked up to me, helping me carry my bag. Ed, you're home, everything is ready, we were just waiting for you to come back so we could eat. Seeing the skeptical look on my face, Taylor quickly pushed me into the dining room. Today is the birthday of my 3 treasures. I wanted you to get to know them and bond, so I held it here at home. With that, she called out, Prince, Paris, and Blanket, come over here and say hello to Uncle Ed. Now. In a moment, if you give Uncle Ed a bow, you'll have a godfather. I suddenly understood. The reason she called me back today was for this. The 3 children were still glued to the cartoons projected on the wall. Under Taylor's coaxing, they reluctantly walked over. These 3 children shared no resemblance to Taylor. Small eyes, short and chubby. Especially that impatient, frowning expression. There was absolutely none of the gentleness that Taylor had in her youth. Are you Ed? You look really ugly, not at all like our handsome dad. The slightly taller boy evaluated me with disgust. Mom, you said the godfather you found for us was this guy? I don't want him, he's old and ugly. The other 2 boys also pouted. He doesn't want it, and I don't want it either. Going out with him is embarrassing. He dresses so tacky, too. Taylor quickly covered the boy's mouth. Paris, don't be rude, have you forgotten what Mommy said? If you call him Godfather, he will buy you big cars. And a big house. And lots of toys. Taylor then looked at me. Ed, since the 3 children have accepted you as their godfather, you should at least show them something. I think from the relocation money, $1 million per child would be fair. Take another $500 to buy that 4-bedroom house for Justin. Money is just an external thing. You don't have children anyway, wouldn't you leave it to them sooner or later? If you win them over now, they can take care of you on your sickbed when you're old. I'm doing this for your own good. The tallest boy, likely the eldest, rolled his eyes and pretended to say reluctantly, Dad said you're very pitiful because you don't have kids. We'll reluctantly call you godfather, but you can't be stingy, you have to treat us well. Otherwise, when you're old, I'll make you pick up trash, lock you in a dark room, and feed you leftovers. Hearing this, Taylor nodded vigorously. My son is right. If your godfather treats you well, you must treat him well too, right? Don't worry, your godfather has money. Just tell him whatever you want. With that, she pulled me closer and winked at me. I pushed her away coldly. Who said I was going to adopt you? And big cars. Houses? Your biological father is capable, isn't he? Why doesn't he buy them? What's the point of finding a godfather with a different last name? The taller boy immediately flew into a rage and charged his head into my stomach. His fists pounded repeatedly against my gut. You dare talk about my dad? You're old and stingy, you deserve not to have a son. Asking you to buy us a house is because we feel sorry for you. Who wants to be the son of this ugly man? The other two boys also rushed in, scuffling with me. We don't welcome you, you ugly freak, get out. Though they were only 10-year-old children, their strength was significant. The punches to my stomach stung. I tried to firmly grab the boy's arm and push them away. They still tried to kick me. Even Taylor couldn't stop them. I don't know who, but someone suddenly kicked me in the groin. Immediately, a sharp pain surged through my entire body. In that moment of extreme pain, I used all my strength to shove the boy away. Only a thud was heard as the tallest boy hit his head against the coffee table. The entire living room erupted in frantic wailing. I clutched my groin, doubling over to help him up. Chris suddenly rushed out from the kitchen. Seeing the boy hit his head on the table, she let out a loud "oh" and lunged forward, calling him sweetheart. Seeing the boy's forehead bleeding, I felt a pang of guilt. Just as I was about to say something, another person stepped out of the kitchen. This was the first time I met Justin, exactly as in the video, fair-skinned, tall, exuding an air of refinement. I couldn't help but look down at myself. My workshop tracksuits, dusty gray sneakers, combined with the days of anxiety and insomnia, I looked haggard and old. My heart felt an indescribable ache. Justin saw the boy's forehead bleeding and immediately pulled him into his arms, checking him thoroughly. Dad, it was him. He's the one who pushed me so hard. Justin picked Prince up and looked at me coldly. Mr. Ed, how could you lay a hand on a child? Just because you've never been a father and lack fatherly love, doesn't mean you should be this cruel, does it? With that, he looked angrily at Taylor. Taylor, I knew he never liked us. That's why I listened to you and never set foot in the Ed household. I only wanted to raise the children to be good people. I never thought about competing for you. Today you told us to come to the Ed house, saying he had agreed. I was so happy, thinking we could finally be reunited. But then he treats Prince like this. Taylor, maybe I should just take the kids and go. I don't want to live under someone else's roof and have to watch their every mood. I especially don't want the children to be beaten at will. Justin said this and picked Prince up, pulling Paris and Blanket along. Taylor was so anxious she was frantic, desperately trying to explain. Justin, don't go. I won't let you go. This is your home and the children's home. Where would you go? I promise, in the future. Absolutely. No one will give you attitude. What happened today will definitely not happen again. With that, she grabbed me forcefully, dragging me in front of Justin. Ed, apologize to Prince right now. Say, you didn't mean it, say it now. She gave my arm a hard pinch. You must promise Justin that from now on, you will love these children as your own, and absolutely never lay a hand on them again. Taylor's words were like knives, carving into my heart. This house was the home my father left me. How could she so naturally claim it was the home of a home wrecker and illegitimate children? How could she open her mouth to demand I apologize to a 10-year-old and give a guarantee to Her lover? I suddenly didn't want to say anything anymore. Even less did I want to explain. All my attempts to save this, it turns out, were just my own naive delusions. I slowly stood up straight, pointing emotionlessly toward the door. Get out, all of you, get out, in this house. What the hell do you think you are? Hearing this, Chris suddenly lunged forward, picking up a chair to smash over my head. You bastard, you dare tell us to get out? You married my daughter. Your things are hers, you're the one who should get out. A sharp pain hit me. It felt like blood was flowing. My head was spinning. Taylor only looked at me coldly and impatiently. It was as if I was the one causing the conflict. I struggled to stay conscious, clutching my head and looking at them coldly. My father is still looking down from heaven. How can you let a home wrecker and his illegitimate children stand over me like this? Do you have no shame? Are you even human? Seeing me use such harsh words, Taylor's tone soured as well. Ed, why have you become so stingy? Isn't all this talk just because you're greedy for money? This is our marital property. Isn't it right for me to give it to my children? Must you really force me to take this to court? I cannot watch Justin take 3 children away to suffer and live in poverty. Look at Justin today. He bought the cake, bought roses for me, and spent half the day busy in the kitchen. Why don't you learn from Justin? Be more generous, and think about the big picture. Chris rolled her eyes and said scornfully, I said from the beginning, he's not as good as Justin, not as sharp, not as good at taking care of people. Look at him now, behaving like this in front of the children. Mom, stop talking. Ed, apologize to the children. Later. Take them out to buy some things to coax them. Let's just put today behind us. Justin was quite observant, seeing Taylor's attitude soften. He hugged Prince and spoke with an aching heart. Taylor, today I was just so worried about our son that my words were a bit harsh. Don't be angry with each other because of me and Ed. I'll make it up to Ed later. Prince is bleeding non-stop. Let's get to the hospital to see a doctor right away. As soon as Justin finished speaking, Taylor and Chris immediately looked at the boy with worry. Be good, does it hurt? Grandma is taking you to the hospital right now. Don't be afraid, darling. Mommy and Daddy are both here. We're going to the hospital this instant. The group hurried outside, some supporting, some carrying. Truly a loving family. Watching them vanish into the night, I let out a bitter, self-deprecating laugh. An hour later, my phone went ping, 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 with several 60-second voice messages. Taylor's frustrated voice came through. Ed, I'm not trying to nag you, but look at your attitude today. Children just need a little coaxing. Why did you have to lay your hands on them? I had good intentions, so why can't you show a little sympathy? Prince was terrified today. I'm not coming home. I'll stay with him tonight. I'll also put in a good word for you. Don't be so jealous next time. Prince is too scared to even get out of bed. Perhaps seeing that I didn't reply, Taylor on the other end seemed to frown helplessly at her phone. Fine, fine, you were hurt today too. I won't say any more. Go get the antiseptic from the cabinet yourself. A grown man being jealous all day is truly embarrassing. You don't have half the thoughtfulness or maturity of Justin. I sneered while listening to the voice messages and calmly made 2 phone calls. Secretary Luis, I want to sell the old house. Contact a buyer. Find a lawyer to draft a divorce agreement for me. Mr. Usher, I've thought it over. I agree to go to Miami to develop the new market. After Taylor coaxed Prince to sleep, she wasn't sleepy at all. The message she sent 2 hours ago felt like it had fallen into the deep sea. With no reply, thinking of the cold, hopeless look in Ed's eyes when she walked out the door, Taylor's heart panicked. She threw back the covers, grabbed her keys, and rushed home with an uneasy heart. On the way, Taylor repeatedly tried to call me. All she got in return was a mechanical female voice. I'm sorry, the number you have dialed is busy. Today, she had only wanted the 3 children to accept Ed as their father. She had been a bit too hasty. How could she have mentioned taking it to court? It truly hurt their feelings, mostly seeing Prince's forehead swollen. She thought, How could Ed, an adult, use force? Being this old and still jealous and petty, why couldn't he treat her children as his own? Wouldn't her children be filial to him in the future? Pushing the door open, Taylor took a deep breath and called out, "Ed." Only a hollow echo replied. Taylor immediately ran to the second floor and yanked open the wardrobe. The hangers swung emptily. Taylor looked up and saw the wedding photo was gone. She hurriedly rushed into the bathroom. The cups, towels, and razors were all gone. For the first time, Taylor felt terror. Her heart trembled. She hurriedly kept calling. Still, the mechanical female voice came through. "I'm sorry, the number you have dialed is busy." An hour later, Taylor sat regretfully on the sofa, looking at the divorce agreement on the table. Ed really wanted a divorce. Furthermore, he had moved all the relocation money into a trust fund to be donated annually to poverty-stricken areas and orphanages. For the first time, Taylor fell into a state of fear. She hugged her arms tight, huddling on the sofa. She was as scared as she was 18 years ago. Back then, her mother had lost at gambling and sold her to a 40-year-old bachelor. When that old man's foul mouth kissed her face, she couldn't help but throw a chair at his head. She was locked up. Her mother jumped up and down scolding her, looking everywhere for someone to sell her to. Even a 60-year-old woman was asked, but everyone who heard of her fierce reputation turned her down. Later, Justin's mother used money to pay off the gambling debts and betrothed her, but Justin was only a young boy then. To put it bluntly, they bought her to be a servant. From that day on, Taylor not only had to do her own housework, but also had to shoulder the burden of chopping wood and weeding for his whole family. Until high school, when she met Ed, during the freshman talent night, she performed a self-taught peacock dance. He fell in love with her. He used his own money to pay for her dance lessons, found every way to earn money for her tuition, and bought her nutrition. Without him, she didn't know if she could have finished high school, let alone get into the dance academy and become a dancer. He even argued with his family for her sake. The phone suddenly rang, pulling Taylor back to reality. Taylor took a deep breath and pressed the answer button. "Taylor, Prince has a headache, he's making a fuss. Wanting you, come and coax him." "Mom, I'm nauseous and dizzy. It's all because that bad man hit me. I want you to hold me while I sleep." Taylor listened to the father and son's coordinated, play-like words, and for the first time, she regretted her momentary soft-heartedness. Justin might be fair-skinned and sweet-talking, knowing how to coax, but he was raised by his mother to be a pretty boy. His hands couldn't do heavy work, and his shoulders couldn't carry burdens. He complained about work being tiring and pay being low. Thus, even past the age of 20, no girl would marry him. That time, she went back to the village, and he held her crying bitterly, saying he had failed his mother in this life by not letting her hold a grandchild. His mother also knelt down to beg Taylor, saying that because of the childhood betrothal, her reputation was ruined. She begged her, for the sake of the old days when she worked so hard, to leave his family and heir. Taylor hesitated, looking at Justin, who always called her big sister, and looking at his mother fainting from crying. Under their firm guarantees, she stupidly agreed. At the time, she thought she was helping Justin, and that she wouldn't go back again. They would be even, but things slowly veered off track. When the three fair, chubby children lay in her arms, clingily calling her mommy, she couldn't help but go back time and time again, eating with them, playing games, taking them to school. She even wanted to bring them to her side and care for them legitimately. A long while later, Taylor suddenly understood, it was she who was wrong. To betray a sincere love and then shamelessly demand that the other person accept her mistake. Taylor woke up. She wanted to meet Ed to apologize to him properly. Regarding the children, she would discuss it carefully with him. Everything would be as he wished. If it really didn't work, she would send the 3 children and Justin back to the countryside. She would pay child support. They wouldn't meet again. The next day, Taylor woke up to the sound of knocking. Opening the door, it was Secretary Luis, leading a strange couple. Inside, Secretary Luis called out, "Sister-in-law," and then started leading the people to look At the rooms everywhere, discussing the price. Taylor was anxious. Secretary Luis, who gave you permission to bring strangers into the house? When? Did I say I was selling the house? Secretary Luis spoke politely but distantly. Sister-in-law, it was arranged by CEO Ed. He told me. It must be negotiated within 3 days. Impossible, this is Ed's old family home. How? Could he sell it? Taylor glared at Secretary Luis and called. Me. Ed. What's going on? Secretary Luis says. You want to sell the house? Why sell the house out of the blue? If there's something wrong, let's talk it out properly. I let out a cold laugh and spoke indifferently. Taylor, move out as quickly as possible. I've decided to sell this old house. I've signed the divorce agreement and am preparing to go to Miami with Mr. Usher to develop. I won't delay your family reunion any longer. With that, I decisively hung up the phone. No matter how Taylor called back, I only kept it on silent. Taylor's face turned pale as she put down the phone. Looking up, she realized that Justin, leading the 3 children, was standing in the living room. Justin's face was dark as he glared at the divorce agreement on the table. Taylor, what the hell does this Ed guy think he's doing? That relocation money. What right does he have to unilaterally turn it into a trust fund? That's marital property, half of it should be yours. And the house? He says he's selling it and that's it? What does he take you for? He's threatening you, forcing you to abandon your kids? Forcing you to be a heartless mother? A useless man who can't even father a son. And he dares to put on airs? If he wants to play like that, let's go to court. Divorce is fine. Then our family can finally be together. Taylor frowned. Justin, the relocation money was left by his father. And the house is his family's old home. He has the right to handle them. How could we actually go to court? Besides, he isn't useless. I've told you more than once, he did that for me. Which is why we didn't have kids. I'm the one who wronged him. Don't ever say those things again. Seeing Taylor defend me, Justin pulled Prince, Paris, and Blanket toward him. Taylor, you're too soft-hearted. Prince, Paris, and Blanket, they're your real family. Your own flesh and blood. Ed is just an outsider. If you won't think for yourself, think for the children. What happens when they grow up? Who will buy them cars and houses? Do you have the heart to let them end up like me? Just a lonely bachelor? Taylor looked at Justin in shock. Previously, he had said his greatest wish was for the 5 of them to be together. And that the workshop didn't matter. But today, the first thing out of his mouth was the relocation money. He wanted her to sue for the house. He questioned who would buy cars and houses for the 3 boys. At the start, he said he didn't need anything from her and wouldn't bother her. Why had everything changed? Secretary Luis walked over, saying with a smirk, Sister-in-law, this is that good hometown friend of yours, right? He partnered with you to have kids, raise kids, and meanwhile, you're raising him too? He shook his head. No wonder CEO Ed had to sell the old house and move away. Not only did his wife cheat on him, but she expected him to raise another man's kids and a pretty boy lover. The fact that he didn't take a knife to this guy shows he has incredible restraint. Justin said angrily. Who wants his money? He's the useless one who handed money to Taylor to spend. What does that have to do with me? I provide emotional value. I've put in the work. It's only right that Taylor spends money on me. What does a little secretary like you know? Secretary Luis truly couldn't help himself and laughed out loud. I get it. Turns out you serve the lady so well that she's happy to keep you as a pet. Then, his expression shifted, and he spoke sternly to Taylor. Sister-in-law, everyone saw how much CEO Ed loved you. Aren't you ashamed to treat him like this? Where is your conscience? With that, he spat on the ground and turned to leave. Taylor looked at Justin in horror. When had he ever provided emotional value? What work had he put in? Since when did he think she was obligated to support him? Was this whole thing a calculated plot from the very beginning? Taylor's face contorted. Justin, at the start, we agreed clearly. This was just to leave an heir for your family to repay your mother's kindness. You said I wouldn't have to worry about the kids once they were born. What is this now? Justin brushed off his clothes, a look of contempt on his face. Taylor, let me give it to you straight. You gave birth to these 3 kids, you have to raise them. And you have to buy them cars and houses. If you don't sue Ed for the money, I'll dump the 3 kids on you. I'm done. You're 6 years older than me. Haven't I spent the last decade coaxing you and serving you? Isn't supporting me the least you can do? Taylor collapsed to the floor, staring at Justin in total disbelief. After a long silence, she said hoarsely, "Justin, you're nothing but a fraud." Just as she tried to lunge at him, Justin kicked her. "Taylor, if you want a quiet life, then sue that Ed guy for the money. If not, don't blame me for getting nasty." With that, he grabbed the 3 children and walked arrogantly out the door. Taylor thought Justin was just bluffing. She didn't expect him to move the 3 children into Chris's tiny 2-bedroom apartment in San Pedro. He threw Chris's bedding into the living room, moved Prince into the master bedroom, and crammed Paris and Blanket into the 2nd bedroom. According to him, he had worked hard raising the kids for over a decade and deserved compensation. He shamelessly said that if she didn't like it, they could let the neighbors judge. Shouldn't a man who endured 10 years of humiliation as a secret lover while raising kids be compensated? Chris was a harsh woman, but she was proud. How could she let this scandal go public? Her daughter keeping a pretty boy and having secret children? Justin moved in permanently with the 3 kids. Every day they just ate, drank, watched TV, and played games. The 3 boys ran wild, breaking vases and knocking over coat racks. They constantly fought over the TV. They were incredibly picky eaters, demanding fried chicken one minute, pork ribs the next, then sweet and sour fish. If one didn't get what he wanted, he'd slam the table and scream, causing a total scene. Every week, Chris suffered heart palpitations. One night, she fainted in the bathroom. Justin ignored her. He didn't call for help until noon the next day. By the time she reached the hospital, doctors rushed her into the ICU. Although she survived, the prolonged lack of oxygen to her brain caused permanent damage. She was paralyzed from the waist down. Justin had just rented a place to move out of the old house. And now things were perfect. Brand name bags, clothes, and jewelry were left behind. Taylor had to sell them to pay the hospital bills. By the time Chris was discharged, Taylor had exhausted all her savings. Seeing no more hope for money, Justin's harassment grew more violent. He slept all day and blasted music, shouting and screaming all night. Chris had just come home from the hospital. How could she endure such chaos? She fainted several times. Taylor stopped performing. She spent every day at home serving these little tyrants. Finally unable to take it, she begged Justin, "What do you want? If you drive me to death, you won't get a single cent." Justin demanded $2 million. With that money, he said he'd take the kids and never bother her again. Finally, after negotiating, he dropped the price to $1 million. When Taylor found me, I was building a new factory in Monterey. Having not seen her for half a month, Taylor had changed drastically. Her face was sallow, her eyes were sunken, and her hair was a mess. There was none of her former elegance or beauty left. She looked at me piteously. "Ed, please save me. Justin isn't human." She broke into sobs. I asked the engineers to step outside and said indifferently, "Taylor, you and I are divorced. If there's a problem, shouldn't you go to your sons and your flesh and blood mother?" Taylor hurriedly wiped her tears, looking at me pleadingly. "My mother is paralyzed now. Don't you know her temperament? When can I ever truly rely on her? Ed, I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong now. I shouldn't have been biased toward them and broken your heart." With that, she rushed to grab my hand. "I only realize now that you were the one who treated me best. Only you are willing to help me. Justin said he only needs $1 million. Give him $1 million, and he will take the children away and never bother us again. Can we start over? Ed, it's just $1 million. You're so talented, at most. It would take you 5 years to earn it back. Then, I will definitely treat you well. We can have a child together and live a good life. Okay?" I sneered at her. So, my years of pampering made her naturally assume she could be forgiven? If she had said this to me a month ago, I might still have thought she was just temporarily confused and considered it. But she had been entirely focused on her ex-lover and their children. Just because I cared for her, did she think she could simply bypass my self-respect and treat me as a backup? A living Buddha. Taylor, you can't just turn back to me as your savior because someone else cheated you and threw you away. I'm not just someone you can have whenever you want, especially not for a woman with the heart of a wolf." Taylor's face turned from red to white, then to blue. She choked back her tears, looking at me in shame. Finally, unable to face me any longer, she ran out. After that, she came to the construction site every day bringing chicken soup, pork ribs, and lunchboxes for me, but I poured them all into the trash can right in front of her. Taylor stood by awkwardly, rubbing her hands and bowing her head. Humans are strange. Things easily attained are cast away like weeds. Only when lost do they know regret. But a heart that has already been made fragile, how can it endure being plunged into boiling water and fire? Half a month later, Taylor left in tears. I didn't say a word to stop her. We are adults. She must pay the price for her mistakes. The investment interest from the trust fund, giving her $1 a month as a living allowance, was already my greatest act of mercy toward her. I hoped she would look after herself. In less than 10 days, I received a court summons. Taylor had actually sued me. I let out a cold laugh. I didn't want to reopen old wounds, but others persisted in clinging on. If that's the case, then let's expose this ugly truth. In court, Taylor avoided my gaze. Justin sat below with a smirk, crossing his legs smugly. He indeed had reason to be smug. He had 3 lovely sons and someone to support them. He even expected to receive a few million in cash. This isn't something an ordinary person could pull off. In court, Taylor's lawyer spoke eloquently, presenting how the plaintiff, during the marriage, wholeheartedly supported my business and worked hard at home. He contested my unilateral handling of marital assets and demanded half of the estate. I didn't even hire a lawyer. I just expressionlessly presented a stack of documents and invoices. During the marriage, medical bills, living expenses, and travel for Chris totaled $960. Taylor's schooling, self-funded dance training, dance competitions, overseas advanced studies, clothing, beauty treatments, etc., totaled $1 million. Her monthly salary of $1.300 was never used for household expenses. As for where it went, she knew best. Adding in the house I bought for Chris, over 10 years, a total of $3 million had been spent. That averages nearly $300 per year. No wonder the woodworking shop's income and expenses barely broke even for over a decade. It turns out that, without me noticing, Taylor had siphoned it all off for various lifestyle costs. I presented the records for the woodworking shop and the old house, proving they were premarital inheritances left to me by my father, with no connection to Taylor. Therefore, if calculating based on marital assets, I demanded she reimburse me $1.5 million. The judge carefully cross-referenced the documents and lists, finally deciding to attempt mediation first. Taylor looked at me with eyes full of tears. "Ed, I truly know I was wrong. Can you help me one more time? In the future, I will work like a slave for you, okay?" I looked at Taylor coldly. No wonder people say a pitiful person must have a detestable side. I pulled her out of a filthy world, yet she voluntarily sank back into it. When I first loved her, it was partly because I saw her as resilient, hardworking, and ambitious. I didn't realize the influence of her roots was carved into her bones. Selfish, unable to distinguish right from wrong, greedy, ignorant, narrow-minded, and without principles or boundaries. Justin stood up and walked to her side, shouting loudly, "Money for parents is out of respect for elders. Money spent on a wife is his duty as a husband. That's what he's supposed to do. On what basis does he want it back? Taylor spent her beautiful youth with him for over 10 years. At the very least, he should compensate her for the loss of her youth, shouldn't he? Even if you calculate it based on the hostesses outside. 1 year would be $20,000 or $30,000. Calculating 10 years at $1 million isn't much, right?" The judge looked at Justin with a grim expression. The others in the courtroom were buzzing with excitement. Pointing at Justin, Justin remained smug, saying I could not reproduce, that Taylor had children with him, and his children were entitled to inherit my estate. The judge, the secretary, and the others almost bulged their eyes out. They had seen shameless people before, but never someone who treated a filthy rag as a flowered robe. How did he have the nerve to display himself like that in front of everyone? Taylor's face turned bright red as she choked back tears. Only looking at me pleadingly, I saw that the time had come, cleared my throat, and spoke loudly. "Your Honor, I am now suing Justin for defrauding Mrs. Taylor and using the children as an excuse to demand a total of $1.20 million from her. The triplets he speaks of were not born to Mrs. Taylor. but are the children of him and a hostess named Manuela. At that moment, the air froze, everyone's breath hitched. I stepped forward and submitted the DNA kinship reports for those people. Sure enough, it showed. The triplets had no biological relationship with Taylor, but shared a father-child relationship with Justin and Manuela. I told a bizarre story. It turns out Justin could never find a wife, so he frequented entertainment venues. Over time, he met a hostess named Manuela. When Manuela heard he had a childhood betrothed who had become a dancer and married into wealth, she immediately started plotting. She told Justin to seduce Taylor, using the excuse of diligence, to force her to have children. Then, he and Manuela found an underground clinic beforehand to perform IVF. On the day of their encounter, they gave Taylor a sleeping pill, then implanted the embryos. To be safe, they implanted 3 embryos at once. That way, they could demand even more child support. The 2 of them thought they had someone to help carry and birth the children, while having someone else pay for their support. Once the children grew up, they could even inherit the vast fortune of the mother. The 2 of them just waited to enjoy their fortune. Unexpectedly, man proposes, but God disposes. I looked at the 3 children, then at Justin. Naturally, doubt had arisen in my heart. Are triplets this easy to conceive? And they look nothing like the parents. Finding a handsome private investigator to buy Manuela a few drinks made it easy to extract the truth from her. When I finished the story, the sound of gasping filled the air. Murder and robbery are capital crimes. Defrauding emotions deserves death. This wasn't just stealing money and love, it was stealing a womb. Are these even human beings anymore? Taylor fell to the ground with a loud thud. The scene immediately turned into chaos. People were cursing and hurling insults. The judge had to declare a recess. Not long after being taken to the hospital, Taylor woke up. The doctor said it was due to extreme emotional shock and was nothing serious. Taylor woke up, only to stare blankly without saying a word. I visited for a while, but she wouldn't speak to me. Seeing she was fine, I left. A day later, there was suddenly a huge news story. A woman snuck into a man's house in the middle of the night and decapitated the man with a knife. Also killed were 3 young boys. It was said that after the murder, the woman closed the windows and turned on the gas. After lighting a fire, following the explosion, everyone was burned to death. In the end, not even the bodies could be identified. Hearing this news, I remained unmoved. I had given them chance after chance. It was because the human heart is never satisfied. So, they could only go to hell together. A year later, I adopted many orphans, bought a large estate, and settled into a new life in Miami. Along with my increasingly busy work, I no longer dwelled on the rights and wrongs of the past. Everything had passed like drifting clouds. Each person must cultivate their own good karma. Perhaps then they will encounter blessings.